Hey folks, welcome back to another comparison video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at one of my all-time favorites. One of the reasons it's one of my all-time favorites is because my wife really enjoys this game a lot. And in fact, it is her most prized game, is her favorite game of all time, and that is this guy right here, Carcassonne. A tile-laying game. It was a Spieljahr's winner back in 2001, and today I'm going to compare that to the brand new version that has just come out from Z-Man Games. It's a reprint. Now, this copy came with the Traders and Builders expansion. My wife actually purchased this for me. It actually comes in a tin, so there are some differences between what I have and this new version that I'm going to be comparing it to. However, I have removed all of the Traders and Builders tiles out of this so that I can give you just a straight up comparison to the new Carcassonne. Now, having said that, the new Carcassonne comes with two mini expansions. It comes with the River and the Abbot. So we'll be taking a look at those two mini expansions in this video. So stay tuned for that, I guess you could say. But let's get to the comparison. So here's a representation of the tiles that you would get in my old copy of Carcassonne. Now, I bought the old copy after it was released, of course, probably a good few years after it was released, but you can, it still has the same, I guess you could say, feel as the original game did, with the tiles and the artwork and that type of thing. So as you can see, it's kind of a rustic look to it. Earthen tones, a whole lot of earthen tones, except for, of course, the shields, which denote extra points that you would get when you finish a city, in addition to the other tiles that make up the city, the points that you get from those. If you haven't played Carcassonne, I would encourage you to go watch one of our other straight Carcassonne reviews. My main point here today is to show the difference between the two games, so that if you do know what Carcassonne is, you can go ahead and compare what you have to what has been released, and then make a decision on maybe whether or not you want to replace your old edition, you know, to spruce it up or something like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the new tiles that come in the new reprints from Z-Man. So as you can see here, the difference between the old kind of rustic look of Carcassonne has been replaced with a more, I guess you could call it, romantic look. There's a lot more colors going on. You have a lot more detail to the models going on. If you see, there are little robbers waiting for wary travelers to rob them of their wares. There are farms with cattle. There are just a number of different things. The parapets, the towers on the city walls are all different colors as compared to the cities within. The shields are a little bit larger so that you can pick them apart a little bit more easily. The buildings all have a little bit better definition, I guess you could say, as you look at it. The roads are not necessarily whiter, but they seem to be a bit brighter, whereas the greens of the pastures are a little bit deeper. So I really do enjoy the overall upgrade, I guess you could call it, to this version of Carcassonne, because it's more pleasing to the eye, I guess you could say. So as I said earlier, we are going to be taking a look at the two mini expansions that come in the new reprint of Carcassonne, as well as comparing it to the original version and all that kind of stuff. But the first expansion I'd like to go over are these guys right here, the Abbot meeples that come in the new reprints. Now, Abbots can be placed on the monastery tiles or any tile that has a garden. There are a number of different kinds of tiles that have gardens, so as you can see there, but they are placed, they can only be placed on either a monastery or a garden. And again, whenever you do place them, you don't lay them down like that, because they aren't farmers. You would actually place them on the garden as such. As you can see, these don't actually match, but I just wanted to give you the idea. Monastery score, if at the end of the game you have all of the tiles surrounding your monastery tile, then that monastery will score you 9 points. All right, so monasteries are the one of two different places that you can place the abbot: monastery and the gardens. Now, gardens also score like monasteries. So every garden that you have, for example, if it were like this, and you placed one of your abbots here, gardens also score you 9 points at the end of the game. Now, another ability that the abbot gives you is that, let's say that during the course of the game, something like this happens, and you know that that garden or monastery probably isn't going to score you at the end of the game. You can, instead of placing one of your meeples, choose to take off your abbot from wherever he is, and he scores as if it were the end game. So he comes off and he would score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points if that were the case. So with the river expansion, you're going to basically take the start tile and throw it out, and then you're going to take the source tile and the lake tile and separate them. Then you're going to give the rest of the stack a good shuffle, and then you're going to take the lake and put it on the bottom, and you're going to take the source and put it up on the top. Then players can take turns as normal, normal Carcassonne fashion, taking and placing tiles however they'd like. All right, so it would be something like this. They still have to make sure everything matches on the sides. The only really difference here is that you cannot make a turn twice in a row, the same turn rather, twice in a row. So it would be something like this. Now, as we're doing this, it would also be valid for people to take their meeples and place them. So for example, if somebody wanted to go ahead and take their abbot and put it on that monastery right now, that'd be fine. If somebody wanted to place one of their meeples here and make it a knight, that'd also be okay. And now that you have built your river, the game continues with the regular tiles, and it's just another way for you to have a beginning to the game without having to use just a single start tile. Kind of gives you a little bit of a game, a head start, so to speak. So not bad, pretty cool. The actual difference in the two different scoring tiles, this has more of a stone look, while this one has a little bit more of a dirt path look, but you know, they've taken the walls and the blue tower tops and replaced the kind of the rustic version of the older board. Not a whole lot of difference here, although I will say that I think that having a number on every space kind of breaks up the flow of the artwork on this one. I didn't think it was necessary. I do understand why they did it, so that it would be more clear, but most people know how to count by fives, so I thought that was a little bit cumbersome as far as how it made the board look a little bit more cluttered. I like how this one looks more like just a path than that. But, I mean, that just might be different strokes for different folks, but that's the difference between the two scoring tiles as well. My final thoughts are very simply this. I really enjoy the new look of the reprint that came in here. I also like both of the expansions that they chose to put into the base box. I think they're both very simple, very easy expansions that can really spruce up your game a little bit. I also like that in the rule set, scoring farmers is not part of the basic rules. That's kind of a different way for you to make the game a little bit more intricate, a little bit more challenging. So they actually have that as not part of the regular rule set. It's an addendum that is slipped in there, and then on the other side of that addendum there is the rules for the abbots and the river starting tiles. So I like how they have presented Carcassonne. You can try it with a very simple, easy way of scoring without the farmers, because that was traditionally probably the most difficult way to score. You know, the most difficult part of scoring at the end of the game was figuring out how many points are scored for each of those farmers. So I like how they presented that as a step up in complexity and so forth. So all in all, I think 2 thumbs way up for the new reprint of Carcassonne. I think they made all of the right kinds of changes. They didn't go off the deep end and change up how you play the game or anything like that. They didn't fix what wasn't broken. They just kind of polished it up, made it a little bit more modern looking, more appealing to the eye, and gave you a nice little box in here. I also think that it's interesting that Christina Applegate? I don't know. Maybe? I don't know. Well, that's Carcassonne, the new reprint, and compared to the old version that I have, hey, we'll see you on the flip side, folks.